What's up, everyone? Beanibok here, and I am back. That was obnoxious. So it has been 3 months since I last updated, which has been a very long 3 months. Pro tip, moving across the country to a new state is very hard. For 2 months, I was living out of a hotel, had no internet. I was using my phone as a hotspot, which pretty much got me the speeds of dial-up internet. So now I'm back. I have a job, so I can actually afford an apartment building. Throughout this video, you might hear stomping because my neighbors upstairs apparently are having a wrestling match. I've always seen posts online that's saying that your upstairs neighbor is always terrible. And I always thought, oh, that can't be the case all the time. Well, it is. It's always the case. I'm on the 3rd floor, and I try to be the nicest person ever and calm, tippy-toeing my way around on the floors like a ninja to prevent myself from like annoying the people downstairs. But the people upstairs are like, they have concrete shoes on, stomping around doing some tribal dance to summon the rain. We don't need that. But aside from that, there may be cars outside that get picked up. There's a lot of loud bikes and people, and there's a lot of dogs. There's probably going to be barking. So this isn't ideal for a recording situation, but it's what I have. It's what I can do. So we just have to deal with that. But now to the main topic of this video, and the reason you clicked on it is to talk about Underoath. Right before I moved, they put out the new music video for On My Teeth, and I have to say I was quite excited for that. A little bit of backstory to this whole thing. Underoath was actually one of the very first heavier bands that I started listening to, and it was completely by accident. I listened to the song Reinventing Your Exit. The music video came out, and I heard that, and I was like, these guys are pretty good. Let me go buy their CD. Didn't know that the rest of the CD was going to be more on the heavy side than the singing side, which is what the music video would have had me believe. So I bought the CD completely off of that. And at first I was like, what the hell is this music? But after listening to it a few times, I actually started to like the CD a little bit more, and it actually opened up my genres that I listened to, and I started to find more and more bands that I liked within that. So I would like to think that Underoath has helped me discover this new path in music that I never probably would have found otherwise. With that said, I think every CD they have put out has been amazing, and Underoath has always stayed within my top 5 favorite bands ever since I found out about them, which is actually saying a lot due to all these new bands that I find out about. Underoath was always within that top 5. So obviously whenever they broke up, it was kind of sad to hear that, and seeing them live so many times and all these great CDs is like, this band's going away. So the announcement that they were coming back and making a new CD was amazing. Everyone I talked to was extremely excited about this, as was I. So we fast forward to On My Teeth, and I think this was a great music video to get them started into their comeback CD. It had a lot of the same styles that they've used to do before, but it didn't sound the same as their older stuff. So it was kind of doing the same thing over again, but still keeping it new and making it different, which is something they've always done. They're always improving on their sound, but something sounded off, and I couldn't figure out what it was that sounded off. When I moved out here, I was so busy running around, getting things done, buying things that I needed, finding a job. So whenever I finally got that job, my life was just so hectic of trying to get everything settled down that I didn't actually get a chance to sit down and listen to the CD in full. But on my way to work, I would occasionally hear On My Teeth and Rapture show up on Sirius. That's whenever I really got to like listen to it, stuck in traffic, and try to figure out what sounded off. And I still at this point couldn't figure it out. But the one thing I did pick up on was on My Teeth, Spencer actually swears in the song. It's actually one of those things that it took me about 5 or 6 listens to actually hear it. And even then, I didn't actually think that's what he was saying. If you go back to all the older Underoath songs, they never swore at all in anything, not even close. I don't even think, do they say hell at all? I don't think so, but they could. But that was extreme for them, even saying that. And I don't want you to think that I'm saying swearing is bad in songs. That's a whole nother video on its own. But what I am saying was it wasn't the Underoath style. So it kind of threw me off. And maybe that was a little bit of what I thought didn't sound right with the band. So when I finally got around to actually listen to the CD, the first thing that jumped out at me was the fact that they show this on all of their songs, which is something we've never seen before on an Underoath CD. And I think seeing the explicit sign kind of put me off of the CD from the beginning. Not because it's bad, again, but because it wasn't them. And I understand that people change with the way they make their music, but to go to that extreme just felt like it was something different. It wasn't Underoath. But I gave it the benefit of the doubt. And listened through it and wasn't that impressed. But there is a reason behind that. I listened to it about 3 times, as I do with most new CDs, because I need to get used to it, listen to it over and over again to see what I actually don't like or what I do like about the CD. And with this CD, it came down to it didn't sound like Underoath at all. Just everything from the style of writing to obviously the lyrics and the swearing within the lyrics, and even the guitar tones and how everything was set up, it just wasn't Underoath. If you go back and listen, everything seems to be somewhat consistent, but whenever we got to the CD, it just all changed rapidly. Typically, whenever bands do this, they have a steady decrease of their heaviness to ease their fans down into the new things that they want to do. The perfect example of this is Thrice, where they started extremely heavy, and I feel, and I've always said, they were way before their time. And as they kept going on, they kept lowering down the amount of heaviness until now they're very mellow, and not very mellow, but they're more mellow than they used to be and more calm, and it's still good. And it's because we were eased down into that change to something new. Now, if they came out with The Artist in the Ambulance, and then the next CD was just straight calm, it wouldn't have worked as well. That's the point here. So we have that steady progression of how you should take the path on lowering down, and Underoath just went and just dropped instantly down to the bottom, which isn't the best way, I feel, to have a comeback CD after you have all these longtime fans that had all this other stuff, and then you just drop this. But then I continued to listen to the CD more and more and more, and I had to figure out what it sounded like, because I knew it sounded familiar, and I needed to figure out what it sounded like. And then it hit me one day that it sounds exactly like Sleepwave. If you go back and listen to Sleepwave, which for those who don't know was Spencer's second band after Underoath was done, you'll hear the same things. The tones are about the same, vocal styles are about the same, there's swearing in those songs too. So it feels like they made a second Sleepwave CD and just put the Underoath name on top of it. So it's kind of like Sleepwave 2.0, technically. And I was actually a fan of Sleepwave. I don't want that to be misconstrued at all. I did like that different style that he was doing. And with the new Underoath CD, I like that different style, but it shouldn't have been called Underoath. It should have been called Sleepwave. Sleepwave Revisited, something different, and not the new Underoath name. It was kind of like they took the Sleepwave formula and just said, hey, we'll just do this again on Underoath and everything will be fine. But that's usually how things like this work out. If you remember back whenever Blink-182 split up and Tom DeLonge went into Angels and Airwaves, Mark and Travis did Plus 44, and when they came back together, you had a blend of both of those styles within the next CD. Not to the extremes, but they were there and they were present. And I feel like this is the exact thing that happened this time around. The best example I can think of to make a comparison to this is if you have a Mini Cooper. We all know what a Mini Cooper looks like. They all have the same shape. You go through the years, obviously some things change. They're not as round, they're a little bit more stretched out widthwise or something, or lengthwise. But through year and year and year, they are consistently roughly the same shape, and just minor tweaks here and there. Now let's say that Mini Cooper releases a new car in 2020, and it looks like this. Now, we're not saying that that's bad. It looks cool, but it's not a Mini Cooper because they've presented themselves with a brand of how their cars look. So to have this new car is just, yeah, that's cool, but it's not what you used to put out, and it's a huge jump between designs. That's what this new CD is for Underoath. It's they had their Mini Cooper line on their first CDs, and now with this new one, it's this new supercar that no one even saw coming, and it's just a sideswipe from everything else. I can only hope that whenever or if Underoath comes out with a new CD, that they realize that they need to kind of go back to the original style, the Underoath sound, and modify that again like they've used to do, and not just take a Sleepwave sound and concept and move it on to the new CD. Which also brings up a point which I tried to look into. I've tried to do a bunch of research and I couldn't figure it out. Aaron doesn't really do much singing on this CD at all. I don't know if it's because Spencer now knows how to sing properly, and that's why. But it was very confusing to me of why Aaron wasn't doing clean vocals anymore as much. He still shows up here and there, but for the majority of all the songs, it's always Spencer. Which I think is also a huge part of it, is that you're taking away that dual vocal dynamic. Even if Spencer can sing, you should also have Aaron be doing his thing, unless he doesn't want to anymore. But again, I don't know that whole story, and I try to find it as much as I can. But to conclude on all this, I do want to stress that it's not that I hate the new Underoath CD. I just think they should have named it what it is and called it the new Sleepwave CD. Just taking the band name and plopping it on the CD, it kind of seems cheap to me, and it was disappointing. And I feel it was disappointing just because of that. If they called it the new Sleepwave CD, this would be a whole different conversation. But putting the name onto it, it just kind of ruined it for me because it wasn't Underoath whenever you lay it out. Just because you have all the original members doesn't mean that that's the band. It relies on the sound, it relies on the structures of the songs, and that's just not how it is. I feel like On My Teeth was a good introduction into their CD, and it's what lured all the old fans into the new CD, saying like, hey, we're still doing this interesting thing that we've always done. But then when you listen to the rest of the CD, other than that song, it's kind of just bland for Underoath. For Sleepwave, it works. And that's the best I can say. It's disappointing to see one of my favorite bands put out a CD like this. I was hoping for something more extreme. I was hoping for something that is relatable to what they used to do, something different still. I've said it a million times this whole video, but at the end of it, it could have just been too much expectation going into the CD and just being disappointed with the outcome, because for me as a fan, I wanted something specific, and that's not what they delivered. So that's all I have left to say about this video. If you liked what you heard, go ahead and subscribe, hit the little thumbs up, and let me know what you think about it in the comments. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think there's something I'm missing about the CD? Is there some information I left out? I love hearing everyone's opinions, whether they agree with me or not. That's how we learn. That's how we grow together as a community. You can't just shut out someone's ideas. So let me know. Put your opinions down below, and I will try as hard as I can to get to comments. Even though my schedule is very busy, I always try very hard to do that. So thanks again for watching. It's so great to be back. More videos are going to come out soon, different things that I'm working on. So stick around for that, and I hope you like everything that comes out in the future. And keep a lookout, because the next video will be coming out soon.